quicker flashbacks raises the curtain on a 1908 drama. Artemus Q. Greenback, a cruel but heartless moneylender, instructs his collectors to either collect the dough or take what isn't nailed down. And what does Artemus Q. Greenback do with his money? He squanders it on fast living and slow gin. The collectors lift a poor family's furniture while the moneylender raises the roof. Still another family feels the greed of Artemus Greenback. In the moneylender's office, Mrs. Greenback asks her husband to put some jewels in the office vault. Greenback has a weakness for stashing away stuff in his strongbox. A customer comes to pay an installment on a $5 loan made on her 16th birthday. A sudden fainting spell. Within the vault, the greedy moneylender is trapped behind papier-mâché walls. His money is useless to him, so for the first time in his life, he starts tossing it around. His calls for help unheard, Greenback forecloses his own mortgage. Mrs. Greenback wonders what's delaying her husband. She thinks that perhaps he stepped out to wash his neck. But if Greenback is out of the office, why isn't his hat locked in the vault as usual? A horrible realization dawns on them. The moneylender has overdrawn his account. Not even his wife feels pity for him. And so ends the story of the man who found an heir from Lacquerware. One of the silent screen's greatest heroines, beautiful Blanche Sweet, makes a date with her boyfriend, Horace. He's to meet her later on at their secret rendezvous, the old shack. Horace, the local wet wash king, is the only man in the community with more than one shirt to his back. But what hanky-panky is this? Some low-life smugglers are also using the old shack for their loathsome plans. In boxes marked farming implements, they're engaged in smuggling illegal bean bags out of the country. Blanche leaves to keep her date. Hearing a noise inside the shack, she figures it must be Horace tearing the collars on this week's laundry. Unwittingly, Blanche has walked into a gangster's lair. The big shots make their escape, while our heroine is left with the best gag in the picture. Meanwhile, the wet wash king decides it's time to meet Blanche at the shack. But she isn't exactly waiting around for Horace. Horace arrives at the shack and cleverly deduces that Blanche isn't there. Just watch this take. The smugglers are going to take Blanche for a little sea voyage, and Horace hasn't been invited. She's shown to her cabin by one nostril Pierpont. Notice the realistic boat rocking effect. Frantically, Horace tells his story with appropriate gestures to some coastguardsmen who just happen to have a speedboat all ready to go. The Coast Guard to the rescue. One nostril Pierpont guards Blanche from the villainous crew who've come forward. In fact, they're very forward. Our heroine is in a bad spot. There's only one cartridge left. Good old Pierpont, anything for a laugh. If he's to protect Blanche, he needs more ammunition. The ammunition ammunition box is empty. What a situation. Blanche has a choice between a fate worse than death or the single bullet left in the gun. Bravely, she chooses the lesser evil. Well, finally they made it, and not a minute too soon at that. Blanche almost had her hair parted permanently. Every time Pierpont opens his mouth, he puts his gun in it. But she's determined to save her protector, no matter what the sacrifice, even if it means going back to the Wetwash King. That bullet is still the lesser evil. Pierpont attempts his getaway while Blanche distracts Horace's attention. She'll never forget Pierpont, who looks like something a fisherman would throw back. As we sail into the setting sun, Blanche talks of her adventure. And she talks, and she talks, and she talks.